On Sunday, April 3rd, 2023, during WrestleMania 39 at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California, the Washington Post broke the groundbreaking news that the WWE would be merging with the UFC to form the TKO stock. It's now been over a year since these two giants of the sports entertainment world merged under Endeavor Group Holdings to form a groundbreaking new entity. This historic merger doesn't just mark a major shift in the landscape of sports entertainment, but it also carries significant economic implications that ripple across markets, influencing both competition and consumer experiences. Today, we're diving into the economic principles behind this merger to better understand its impact. Before we get started, let's talk about the key players. First, WWE, better known as World Wrestling Entertainment, is a global juggernaut in sports entertainment, boasting millions of loyal fans. Managed by Nick Khan and Paul Levesque, WWE has risen to heights not seen since the late 90s in recent years. UFC, on the other hand, has dominated mixed martial arts for decades, becoming the premier name in combat sports. Owner Dana White and widely known broadcaster Joe Rogan have become influential cornerstones of society. Both companies are overseen by Ari Emanuel, who is viewed as one of the most genius businessmen on the planet. Hollywood's highest paid actor, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, also sits on the board, giving the company even more credibility. Altogether, this company is valued at over $21 billion, creating the most powerful sports entertainment conglomerate in history. But what does this mean for markets, consumers, and the industry at large? Let's break it down. Our first point focuses on market structures, a key concept in microeconomics. When WWE and UFC merged, they formed a behemoth that dominates combat sports entertainment. This new entity creates what we call an oligopoly, or perhaps even a near monopoly in this niche sector. Why does this matter? Well, with fewer competitors in the market, the merged entity gains significant price setting power. For instance, they could increase ticket prices, pay per view rates, or subscription fees for streaming platforms. For example, UFC's pay per views go for $80 a show with an added ESPN Plus subscription. WWE's premium live events go for much less, as they have yet to take advantage of their high demand. However, you do need a Peacock subscription to watch their catalog and a Peacock Premium Plus membership for an ad-free viewing experience. Additionally, new entrants into the combat sports market face steep barriers to entry due to the capital required to compete with a conglomerate of this scale. While this merger might be great for business profitability, it raises an important question. Is this fair to the consumer? Before we answer that, let's explore how the merger impacts costs and efficiencies. Next, let's talk about economies of scale, another critical microeconomic principle. By merging WWE and UFC, they combine resources, reduce redundancies, and increase operational efficiency. Imagine the savings on production costs for events or shared marketing campaigns. These efficiencies allow the new entity to lower the average cost per event, ultimately increasing profitability. It's also worth noting that both organizations broadcast from all around the world, so having shared resources lessens the cost of running international events, thus gaining a larger global audience. Here's a graph of economies of scale to visualize this concept. Notice how, as production increases, the average total cost per unit declines. This merger creates a larger corporation that benefits from lower costs while potentially boosting profits. The big question is whether these savings will trickle down to consumers or simply fatten the pockets of shareholders. Now let's shift our focus to the consumer. Fans of WWE and UFC represent a loyal consumer base, which economists describe as having inelastic demand. This means that even if ticket prices or subscriptions fees rise, fans are unlikely to stop watching or attending events. To explain elasticity, let's look at this graph. For WWE and UFC, the demand curve is steep because consumers are loyal and less responsive to price changes. For the company, this is great news. They can push prices higher without losing too many customers. However, for consumers, this could mean paying more for the same entertainment experience. An interesting point to consider here is the concept of economic cannibalism. Fans who follow WWE might also be fans of UFC and vice versa. With the merger, the company is essentially stealing customers from one division to feed another. To use Mr. Kelly's analogy, think of it like robbing Peter to pay Paul. While this might not affect overall revenue for the company, it could impact how they allocate resources and measure growth in each division. Next, let's consider the labor market, which is a critical aspect of this merger. With two major organizations merging into one, the talent pool for athletes and entertainers may very well shrink. Fewer promotions mean fewer opportunities for up and coming fighters or performers to make a name for themselves. The focus will likely shift to marquee names, say John Jones or Roman Reigns, as the biggest draws for pay per view and premium live events alike. As the New York Times pointed out, this consolidation could put downward pressure on wages for those who don't make it to the top tier. Fewer competitors mean less bargaining power for talent. Furthermore, the merged entity might prioritize a few megastars whilst neglecting to develop the next generation of competitors. This creates challenges for those hoping to break into the industry. Another fascinating element to investigate is how we define the term market. One determinant of elasticity of demand is the number of substitutes. Both WWE and UFC have competition within the industry, with Bellator in mixed martial arts and AEW in professional wrestling existing as alternates for the TKO brands. But the real question at hand is if professional football, professional boxing, or other forms of physical entertainment substitutes for wrestling or mixed martial arts in general. Well, the answer isn't entirely clear. While some fans might switch to other sports if prices rise too much, the unique storytelling of WWE and the distinct combat style of UFC make them harder to replace. Neither company runs shows against the NFL, meaning many MMA and professional wrestling fans have already been watching football anyways. As for boxing, bare knuckle fighting, and professional slapping, which is coincidentally also owned by TKO and run by Dana White, the answer to this question is still quite unclear. To summarize, the WWE UFC merger offers us a real world example of many economic principles we've discussed in class this semester. From market power and economies of scale to demand elasticity and labor market dynamics, this merger encapsulates the broader trends of consolidation we see in various industries. As of today, according to CNBC, the TKO stock sits at $141.33. Fitting that it is 41-33 in that number, meaning that is the result of the Philadelphia Eagles' only Super Bowl. This demonstrates exponential growth since its inception, a $41.22 all-time increase, which is phenomenal, especially for 1 year. While the merger could bring exciting opportunities for innovation, it also carries potential risks, like reduced competition and increased costs for consumers. So whether you're tuning in for Monday Night Raw or the next big fight night, remember that what happens behind the scenes shapes the experiences we all enjoy. Thank you for watching. I hope this video helped further inform you about the economic implications of this monumental merger. Have a Merry Christmas and a great 2025, and I'll see you next time.